Hello and welcome back to the Frugal Granny channel. My name's Ali and I'm Frugal Granny, and the reason I'm laughing is because this is take 3. Anyway, welcome to Coffee and Catch Up. It's Thursday, and on Thursday we usually talk about the financial challenges I've had during the week and how I have overcome them. For those of you who are new, I'm a almost 65-year-old semi-retiree trying to make the best of what I've got on 3 small annuities, a part-time job and my YouTube income, having left my career ladder job in the spring and hopefully before I get my state pension in July 2027. For those of you who are returning viewers, it's lovely to see you. Thank you for all your comments and interactions this week. I really, really appreciate it. Now, in my Monday video, I did say I was going to talk today a little bit about how I plan to fund my big shopping trip that I'm hoping to do in the middle of December to stock up on non-perishables for 2026 and my Christmas food shopping. Well, I've just decided to put that on the back burner for now. Maybe talk about it nearer the time. Maybe talk about it once the shopping's actually been done and there's a little bit more context. So what I thought I would do today, just to kick off the holiday and Christmas season in a financial way, is to talk about the things I won't be buying, because part of the way I will be funding the stock up shop that I'm going to do in December is by not spending money on things that I deem unnecessary or that are basically just unaffordable, and I don't want to feel pressurized into buying just because the media environment that surrounds us suggests that I need to buy them. So basically, what are they? Well, as usual, before I talk about the present, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the past. Those of you who watch me regularly will know that I've downsized twice now, and I'm in a 3-bedroom Victorian house now, having moved from a much larger house in Hertfordshire in the south of England. And before that, I was in an even larger house not far from the last one. And in the very large house, and it was a large house, we had room for a Christmas tree in the sitting room, a Christmas tree in the hallway, and the children had a small artificial Christmas tree of their own in each of their bedrooms. So we had 6 Christmas trees every year. And I cannot believe now that I actually allowed myself to get sucked into that. It does seem incredibly excessive when I think that as a child I had a little Christmas tree about this tall that had little metal baubles on it and would fold up. It came from Woolworths. I do remember my mum buying it for me, and every year it would come out of the box. We'd fold the little arms down, put it on my bedside table, and I was quite enchanted and happy enough with that. But my kids know it wasn't them, it was me. I don't know what I think I was trying to compensate for. They all had a relatively, well, let's say, small to medium-sized tree in their room, and it was each decorated as they wanted. I didn't change the decorations every year, but they did initially choose their theme. I remember one of the boys had blue and silver. I can't remember what were in there were 3 bedrooms. 2 boys shared a room. My oldest son had his own room. My daughter had her own room. And then we had our room. And I do remember the shared boys' bedroom had a blue and silver decorated tree in it. Anyway, when we moved to the smaller house, that all went. A lot of the excessive stuff went. And I used to buy a real Christmas tree for the front room every year, and we had a wreath on the door. There were decorations above all of the pictures. I used to have a hanging Advent wreath on the dining room table. silk poinsettias because I'm allergic to real ones. And the house really was a tribute to the Christmas season. After I found myself suddenly single way back in 2012, the household income dropped 75% overnight. And I realised that I would have to do some major trimming just to keep our heads above water, never mind pay for Christmas. So that year, despite wanting to try and keep things as normal as possible for my kids, even though they were big enough to know what was going on, I wrote a list of all the things that I normally do or bought at Christmas and crossed off the things that we could live without. And ever since then, we have lived an incredibly pared down Christmas, right down to the fact we don't give gifts. The first year we did a family secret Santa where we all put in £20. I doubled it and they gave me a list of what they'd like and I picked something off the list and got it for them. And so we all had one gift to open on Christmas Day. After that, we decided to have a present amnesty, and we've had one ever since. So we've had a present amnesty now for about 12 years, and this will be the 13th year. As partners have crept onto the scene, gift giving has crept in, but it mainly tends to occur between my kids and their partners. It doesn't involve me buying them all presents, and it doesn't involve them buying me presents either. If presents come into this house, they usually bring presents for the table, like a large panettone or a bottle of port or a tub of chocolates. My daughter's present to the house is usually to make everybody salmon and free-range scrambled eggs for Christmas Day breakfast with Prosecco. So the presents that do come into the house now are not for me specifically, but they are for everybody to share, and they're consumable, so they don't add to the clutter that's in the house, and they also help keep the overall bill of Christmas itself more manageable for me, and that in itself is a present. Because back then I sat down and added up the cost of Christmas in terms of food and drink, and it came to, at that time, about £250. And at that time there were 5 of us, and I was thinking to myself, £50 a head is a reasonable Christmas present for me to give to myself and to each one of them. So I've always considered the fact that I've provided and cooked and catered for them for Christmas Eve onwards until perhaps New Year's Day, or however long they're staying or coming or going in between that. I've always considered that as my Christmas gift to them, so I don't buy them anything specific. But as some of you have noticed and commented about, I seem to be quite generous to my children during the year, and that's because I would rather give them things that they need when they need them, rather than just buy them some random thing at Christmas to try and show them that I love them. I would rather show that love all the way through the year in a more practical way than concentrating it just on Christmas morning with gloves and socks and stuff that they probably don't really want. But my gift to them at Christmas is to cater, to cook, and to provide the food. And as you probably know by now, I love cooking, and so to do that is a pleasure for me. So it must be quite obvious by now that there are quite a few things that I don't buy at Christmas anymore. Now, in terms of decorations, once I got to the house I'm in now, I decided I couldn't buy a fresh tree anymore every year. Firstly, they're too expensive now. And secondly, they're too big, they're too wide, and it's quite dangerous to have a tree like that in my front room with a wood stove and with a large television. The tree dries out and it's an ignition hazard. So when I moved here, I decided to order a 7-foot narrow-based artificial tree from the local DIY store, and I've used that ever since. It looks very aesthetically pleasing in the corner of my high-ceilinged sitting room, and I still use the decorations that I've had for donkey's years, the red and white wooden Christmas characters, big fir cones, some red baubles and some acrylic plastic icicles. And I will do a video of me decorating the tree and have the dog sitting next to it, because I know some of you have asked for that, and I will do that at the beginning of December, because we don't decorate until the birthday season in this family is over. So no, I won't be buying a fresh tree. I won't be changing my Christmas decorations for the tree. I won't be buying a new wreath. I use the artificial wreath that we've used every year for maybe 10-15 years now. It is looking a bit battered, but it's still passable. I don't really know if it will be going on the door this year, because I had my door sanded down and repainted this summer, as some of you know. I don't want to put a nail into that paintwork. I am not sure if a wreath holder will fit over the top of the door. I'm going to get one and see, but in the likelihood that it won't, then the wreath won't be on the front door this year. It will probably be on the sitting room door. And then the 2 wicker star decorations I've got that were on the dining room windows of my previous house, they usually go on the kitchen door and the back room door. And then I have some fairy lights I put along my kitchen windowsill, and I've got 3 china gingerbread houses which were made in Germany. I've forgotten the name now of the maker. Villeroy and Bosch, that's it. 3 little gingerbread houses that you can put tea lights in. They go on the coffee table, and that's the extent of my Christmas decorations. I will not be buying themed throws. I will not be buying themed cushions. I do not have themed serving dishes or crockery or coffee mugs or glasses or serviettes or candles. I don't do any of those things. I don't have money to spend on them, and if I did, I have nowhere to store them, so I don't do those. I just use the things that I've got, use the decorations that I've got, and then for the actual lunch table, I tend to do a very simple Scandinavian style centerpiece, which is effectively candles stuck into hollowed out apples, and I put stick some twigs of fir into the apple, or if I can't find fir, I sometimes use twigs of rosemary, and it looks really quite nice. I'll show you that nearer the time, and I think there are some pictures on my Instagram if I've not archived those. So it does sound as if Christmas at my house is a little bit pared down, and I guess it probably is. Other things that I don't buy at Christmas are advent calendars. We've not done those for over a decade either, for cost reasons, and I'm horrified at the cost of chocolate advent calendars now. I had a customer come through the tills the other day, and they had bought 3 advent calendars filled with chocolate that were £10 each. Now, you know that I budget £45 a week for my consumables. I cannot imagine spending £30 of that on 3 chocolate-filled advent calendars. So no, we don't do that. My kids and their partners may swap chocolate-filled advent calendars with each other, but that's up to them. I don't have one, and I don't buy them for them. If my grandchildren lived in the UK and were close to me, then I probably would, after discussion with my son and his wife, but they don't, and I can't post anything to them, so I don't buy chocolate-filled advent calendars. I don't buy any advent calendars. Another thing that I used to do, especially when I was married, was send copious amounts of Christmas cards. There was one year when we had got up to 300 Christmas cards on our Christmas card list, and I used to sit at the dining room table on and off for a week about this time of the year, writing the Christmas cards. Some of them had personal messages in them, and then I would fold up a round robin letter and stick that in again. And a lot of the addresses were handwritten until I'd figured out how to print address labels, but then I thought that's not very personal, so most of the addresses were handwritten. It took a lot of effort, and it cost a lot of money to post them as well. And when you think how much a stamp is now, I think a stamp's pushing £1. Honestly, I don't know. I haven't posted a letter for so long. There is no way I could afford to send 300 Christmas cards. So over the years, I have cut back on Christmas cards dramatically, to the point where last year and the year before, I was buying 1 packet of Christmas cards and posting those. That's probably about 5. And this year, I think I will probably be sending 1 card, possibly 2, to elder relatives that don't really use the internet. And that's it. So Christmas cards are not something I'll be buying this year, because I've got some left from the packet last year, and hopefully the recipients won't notice that they're getting the same Christmas card that I sent them the year before. I really am bad, aren't I? I am terrible. What else won't I be buying? I think the main thing that tempts me at Christmas is Christmas food, but things I won't be buying this year are a Christmas pudding and a Christmas cake. I mean, if I was going to have a Christmas pudding or a Christmas cake, I would make my own, but nobody in my family likes Christmas pudding or Christmas cake. And oftentimes I'm tempted just to buy myself a little Christmas pudding for me, and then it never gets eaten. So I'm not even going to do that this year. So, and once we'd found ourselves on our own, the kids and I, we just decided, there were various Christmas foods that we were not going to have anymore. And Christmas pudding was one of them. Christmas cake was another. We decided we never wanted to see another Brussels sprout. And we also decided we never wanted to see another turkey. So we have chicken at Christmas. I buy 2 whole chickens and I treat the family, hopefully with a yellow label version of a free-range organic chicken. I mean, some years I've managed to find them at Waitrose cut price, and that's a real treat for us. We really do not like turkey, and the smell of turkey stock afterwards turns my stomach over. So we're quite happy to have chicken. And the other thing with Christmas food that I don't do is I don't buy anything ready-made, because I think it's a lot cheaper to do these things yourself. So I roll my own pigs in blankets. I make my own Christmas chicken stuffing. If we have bread sauce, which we haven't done for years, I will make that. I won't be making it this year. The other thing that I used to make that we no longer have is braised red cabbage. I don't bother buying that anymore. I used to make my own cranberry sauce. I don't even bother with that anymore. Nobody likes it. So we have chicken, we have roast potatoes, we have mashed potatoes, we have carrots. I make myself a little bit of mashed swede. We have roast parsnips. Some of us like them, some of us don't. I'm in the don't camp. And we have broccoli. My daughter likes cauliflower cheese, so I might make some of that. And definitely we will be having Yorkshire puddings, and there will be lots of sausages and bacon along with the chicken. So basically for Christmas we have a glorified Sunday lunch, to be honest with you. We don't do all the trimmings because we actually do not like the trimmings. That does save us a packet of money. And I know that making a lot of the other things from scratch, like peeling your own vegetables and rolling up your own pigs in blankets and making your own stuffing, it is time consuming. But as you know from me now, that's something that I like doing, and it is part of the way I gift to my family over the Christmas period is to do that. And so that's what we do. Other things that I don't do at Christmas are indulge in matching pyjamas, because I can only match with myself. So unless I buy pyjamas for the dogs, there's going to be no matching pyjamas in this house. I will just be sticking with the pyjamas that I've got. My dressing gown is pretty Christmassy anyway, and I've had that since my middle son was born, and he's in his mid-30s now, so that dressing gown's lasted a long time and is Christmassy enough. What else do we not do? We don't have Christmas Eve boxes because there's nobody here to satisfy in that way, but I must admit Christmas Eve boxes are something I don't really hold with, because I think half the fun of Christmas is to delay gratification, and if you give the kids something on Christmas Eve, it takes away, I think it takes away something from Christmas morning, but that's probably me just being old-fashioned, as is the fact that I really am not a fan of the elf on the shelf either. It really does make me begin to feel that I'm getting quite old, but if my grandchildren were here and my son and his daughter-in-law had these things that they wanted to do, I would be quite happy for them to do that if they were staying in my house, but it's not something that I really understand or feel that I want to adopt. I do like to try and keep Christmas as simple and as traditional as I can in relation to how I experienced it when I was a child. And the only other thing that I won't be doing at Christmas is rushing out to the Boxing Day sales, because there really isn't anything, now that I've bought myself a replacement air fryer, that I really need to get. There is nothing. So I shan't be rushing out to the sales, but I do know that in the past I have. The previous sofas that I had came from a post-Christmas sale. We did very well on those. I've bought good quality bath towels from John Lewis in their post-Christmas sales in the past, and so I'm not going to say don't rush out to the sales. But what I have done in the past is make sure that, I've thought long and hard about the things that I'm going to look for in the sales and put the money aside. But then maybe the whole Black Friday thing has detracted from that somewhat, in a little bit like the Christmas Eve boxes detracted from Christmas Day. Black Friday has detracted a little bit from the post-Christmas sales. But anyway, I think that's probably enough from me for now. As you can tell, I keep Christmas very simple. Anyway, I'm going to keep this quite short today because I've got to work an extra shift this afternoon and I've not really got terribly much time. As those of you who follow me regularly know, I work 21 and 3/4 hours in a supermarket every week, and I've managed to pick up 3 extra hours this afternoon, which will pay for the air fryer I bought last week. So I'm going to sign off now and go and get myself ready and get this video topped and tailed and uploaded, and I will see you on Saturday. And until then, I'm just going to give you a quick little visit with the dogs, and then I will see you next time. You're looking very old today.